Good afternoon, NSA Monterey, and welcome to our town hall for this week. It's October 7th. As we have put out before, Captain Dale and I will be putting out some important information to the community on updates of what's going on here at NSA Monterey, as well as the current COVID situation, and we'll talk a little about childcare and those kind of things. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll try and get to your questions at the end. But again, welcome and thank you for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to Captain Dale.
Oh, thank you, Cal. Appreciate it. And also, I'd like to express my gratitude for those that have chimed in here and dialed in so we can talk about quality of life. We don't have Tina with us today. She's on a well-deserved time off. I see her name has popped up on there, but I know that she is not with us in the office today. She's taking some well-deserved time off. So I'll start off by saying we're not out of the woods yet. You can look at open source media, and you can see the where we stand in terms of COVID-19 and some other aspects when it comes to wildfires and things like that. I won't steal the thunder of the Monterey Fire Chief, who gives us daily updates in terms of what support the local firefighters are providing for the wildfires in California. It's really eye-watering and really remarkable that they're able to do that. So with that said, I'll start off by saying that there's been some news out of the Presidio of Monterey. My counterpart, Colonel Chung, the U.S. Army Lieutenant General Rainey, he approved the Presidio of Monterey Garrison Commander's request to set HPCOM Bravo effective Friday, 9 October. So that's this upcoming Friday. In terms of Naval Support Activity Monterey, we'll using the directed U.S. Nav North. If you're not familiar, U.S. Nav North is it's a echelon command up in Norfolk, Virginia that Admiral Grady is in command of. It's also U.S. Fleet Forces Command. We send that information to all the way up to the chain of command to Admiral Grady at U.S. Nav North in a format that he requested via Navy Region Southwest. We'll paint the most timely and accurate picture so that higher headquarters are making informed decisions as we go forward. Please be mindful that decision authority is for HBCON transition from Charlie to Bravo. That resides with Admiral Grady at U.S. Fleet Forces Nav North. We've worked very closely with U.S. Army elements. There's two different services, two different chains of command, and looking at criteria from perspectives that there's different techniques of how to go about this. But we're looking forward to possibly a decision forthcoming later this month. That's not guaranteed. That said, for Team Naval Support Activity Monterey, we'll collectively be ready to safely yet timely as possible move out with restoring services, enabling mission, etc. on our installation as soon as Admiral Grady makes a decision based on recommendations from those senior to me for the 10 major U.S. Navy installations that comprise Navy Region Southwest, as Admiral Grady did for previous other Navy regions. So there might be some questions on that, but the bottom line is we're doing everything possible, looking at the environment that is around us and provide that information up the chain of command to have informed decisions up in Washington, D.C. and Norfolk. So a new item I want to put out there, shifting gears, and a brighter note, but it is obviously different this year. There's a virtual San Francisco Fleet Week. It begins this Friday, 9 October, and ends on Sunday the 11th. A U.S. Navy ship pulled into San Francisco for a short period of time earlier this week and then departed. Did not do tours or anything, but if you're interested in that, there is a website. You can just Google you just Google San Francisco Fleet Week and it'll pop up the website, but it is it's https :// Fleet Week SF. That's Sierra Foxtrot.org /virtual-events. So again, it's probably easier just to Google it, but and that'll be the first thing that should pop up. It'll break down into different events and things like that. A reminder, and another item, that the Installations Command religious programs restarted services on Sunday, October 4th. Catholic services are at 09 and Protestant services are at 10:30. If we have an opportunity to provide services for one individual, that's a good thing. but we had approximately 50 at the Catholic services and then approximately 30 at the Protestant services this last Sunday. So great job on the part of Father Dom and the chaps, Navy chaps. Really, really wonderful job. And just great job with all the mitigations, everything else we have, and all the rules we have to follow. So, and everyone's staying safe and healthy. Another reminder in this environment that is COVID, that Fleet and Family Support Center Monterey, with its offices located within the La Mesa housing, it continues. It's not providing in-person services currently. They're unavailable based on health factors. However, all services are available telephonically. And then obviously you could establish a lash up and maybe exchange emails and things like that as applicable. But you know, and the key number is 831-656-3060. That's the information and the referral front desk number. That'll get you to where you need to go from there. From there, there's the director, Carmen. There's counseling and advocacy. That's another number. That's the only other number that doesn't have the same zip code and then the 3-digit prefix. And that counseling and advocacy number is 866-923-6478. And you can always go on one source. You can Google, you know, military one source. There's any number of different options that are out there. But please don't suffer in silence if you're struggling or you know someone that's struggling. Put them in contact with our Fleet and Family Support Center, and they will get you the appropriate assistance. But there's new parenting and support and home visitor support or assistance. There's exceptional family member program liaison. There's sexual assault response coordinator, transition assistance and relocation, employment readiness, personal finance management, deployment support, life skills, Gold Star program, volunteer and ombudsman programs, and emergency management. So all kinds of different things up there at Fleet and Family. So please, again, that number is 831-656-3060. And if you're not able to get to, if a person doesn't answer a phone, please leave a message and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. Some other items, a new item is the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Mike Gilday. He sent a message yesterday to the fleet asking for a moment of silence on Monday, October 12th at 11:18 a.m. To honor the sailors who died and who bravely saved their ship after a terrorist attack on the USS Cole, DDG 67, 20 years ago. So if you have the wherewithal and you can remember to do that on Monday the 12th at 11:18, please do so. Also, as a reminder, the Navy's birthday is coming up. It's 245th, so it's a wonderful opportunity. Much like we've done with other annual events that we have provided remembrance for, like 9/11. This is a little different. We're going to do simple but meaningful. There's no ball. It's a birthday, so it's the Navy birthday commemoration. I'd ask that if you are interested, check Facebook on the 13th of October because we'll be putting out some information on that. Starting at 8 o'clock with colors. And then after colors, we'll play Anchors Away. So if you happen to be in a neighborhood nearby the base that you can hear the speakers, you'll hear Anchors Away. And then the CNO, Master Chief Headmaster of the Navy, and then my boss, Raymond Bolivar, she'll be putting some information on Facebook. So we'll get that all posted on Facebook and have that available to anyone that cares to look that over. Other things on the facilities side, in terms of quality of life, Cafe Del Monte, that construction site, there was a work stoppage quite some time ago. We're in final negotiations to restart that project, and we have high confidence that we'll get moving forward in that here again shortly. So that's a good news story. Also, an item to highlight on the Navy Exchange side is that the hopefully this word got out, but the tailor shop is full services, measuring, fittings, for anyone that's a patron of the NEX. So there's appropriate mitigations, but it's nice to have that tailor shop back and that option available to everybody that has use of that. Another thing to highlight is the fitness center here on the installation at Naval Support Activity Monterey, including the NOFs. It will be closed for the holiday on Monday, October 12th. So please keep that in mind as we come out of the weekend. This upcoming Monday, the fitness center, including the NOPS, will be closed for the holiday, so that our teammates can get off and do what they need to do. Other things to highlight is the Naval Personnel Command ICA services, which is our CAC DEERS office on board the installation. It restarted normal hours Monday, the 5th of October, so this last Monday, and remains by appointment only, so please keep that in mind. Their normal hours, which they're doing right now, is Monday through Friday, 07:30 to 15:40, 3:40 p.m., with lunch around noon time. There's a small time where the office closed, but again, it's by appointment only. And if you want to get an appointment, there's an appointment system. If you have any questions, please email Mary Lou Mattel. Her email is matel@nps.edu. That's Mike Alpha, Tango Echo Lima @nps.edu if you have any questions. Okay. Shifting gears a little bit, the Navy Administrative Medical Unit here, the dental department, if you didn't get this word, is open for all dental procedures to include dental cleanings for authorized patrons. So that was a shift a couple of days ago that occurred. The dental department is asking patients call ahead because the policy remains appointments only, and the number there is 831-242-7581 or 5614. So 831-242-7581 or 5614. No walk-ins unless for or during sick call hours. And even then, they request to have a phone call in advance for the military service members to find out what they're coming in toward that's necessary for dental services. Speaking of dental, I kind of combine these two together in terms of the flow, in terms of communication, because you can't talk about dental without talking about Halloween, because all the candy you eat, you're going to probably need dental work after it. I'm not going to put out what the County of Monterey put out. The city manager put out some information via public means not too long ago. I will, however, echo what my counterpart, Colonel Chung, put out at U.S. Army Garrison Presidio of Monterey. He put out a memo just a few days ago, earlier this week. I want to say it was late last week, for fall and Halloween prohibited activities on U.S. Army Garrison Presidio of Monterey. He goes on to say that his order does, in order to contain and respond to COVID-19, the state of California, the County of Monterey, and other local municipalities have issued directives regarding certain prohibitive activities as they relate to fall and Halloween. The Presidio of Monterey incorporates and applies all state and County of Monterey guidance on fall and Halloween activities. All personnel subject to DoD authority in the U.S. Army Garrison Presidio of Monterey shall comply with the most current state and local restrictions, as well as Garrison and Defense Language Institute Foreign Language Center pandemic orders. For purposes of this order, the PALM includes the Defense Language Institute, Foreign Language Center, the Ord Military Community, La Mesa Village, which is one of the reasons I'm reading this, is because there's a good number of Navy Marine Corps personnel that are up at La Mesa Village that are affiliated with Naval Support Activity in Monterey and U.S. Single Activity Camp Roberts. For all military personnel, family members, guests, DoD civilian employees, DoD contractors, lease tenants, and other individuals on PALM, activities prohibited by state, county, and local orders are similarly prohibited on PALM. Door-to-door trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, and similar activities are high risk for COVID-19 spread and are therefore prohibited. This order does not affect activities that are permitted under USAG, which is the Garrison, Defense Language Institute, local commander, as well as state and county guidance. And examples are indoor gatherings of single-family units and outdoor gatherings of 20 people or less, as long as the 6 feet social distancing requirements is maintained or face covering is worn. That remains authorized to do those 2 types of activities. So, and then the order will remain in effect until rescinded. If you did have any questions, it says here to call 6416. So that's the staff judge advocate up at the Presidio. So with that, another item on the safety side, but also related to health, is motorcycle safety training course. There's a lot of dialogue right now on certain channels in regards to restarting the motorcycle safety training course. For those that are familiar with it, on the Naval Support Activity Monterey side, the program here, the Navy program, and the Navy Marine Corps program, actually makes use of the safety range at the Presidio Monterey. So, and there's a contracted service. We are working diligently to get that restarted when we get authorization to do it. I recognize that it provides an important service to those that can make use of it. So, and then last but not least for me, the slow entry control point. It's a gate. We have fancy names for things sometimes in the Navy, and so we call it entry. We call it gate and entry control point. But the slow gate will be closed to vehicular traffic due to preventive maintenance on Saturday, 24 October, from 09 to 11. So the slow gate will be closed to vehicle traffic, both inbound and outbound, on Saturday, 24 October, from 09 to 11. The Del Monte gate will, which is located down on the north side of the base, across from the beach, will be open to inbound and outbound vehicle traffic on Saturday from 09 to 11. So one will be open, one will be closed to vehicle traffic. But in addition, the slow gate will have police officers there for the planned 2-hour maintenance period to conduct some force protection oversight, also to accommodate any pedestrian traffic that is coming in out of the gate. So with that said, I will tee it up now for Kyle. I don't have the ability to see any questions from my location, but I will tee it up for you for child youth programs regarding some guidance that was put forth by SecDef and corresponding letter to parents that went out that was distributed a couple weeks ago.
Thank you, Skipper, and good afternoon again, NSAM Monterey. As Skipper mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the DoD memo that came out for childcare, the new priorities for childcare. This may be news to a lot of folks out there. It's probably not news to the parents in the program because they've all been given notification of this, but essentially the DoD put out a memo early on this year that the priorities for childcare were going to change, and that would include the potential supplanting of current families if a higher priority family were to come in. So as you can imagine, this has been a little bit controversial as it's gone out. This was supposed to start on 1 June. It was postponed because of COVID, and they did enact this on 1 September. So the good news for NSA Monterey is that when this initial memo came down, we did an analysis of all of our families in care, and just to see what would have happened if it was in place right then. And we would have had no families displaced at all at NSA Monterey. So that's the good news, is that the cases here, at least historically, the way that our clientele is, very rarely will we have to supplant somebody. And what does that mean, supplant? Supplant means you would lose your spot in care, but you would have 45 days notice prior to that happening. So our hope is that that rarely comes into play. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk a little bit about what the priorities mean. But the first question to address is why the change? Why did this new memo come out? Why is daycare being changed? Well, daycare for the military was initially came into play for the military to meet the mission. Over the years, that expanded to the entire workforce, which would include our DoD civilians, in some areas, contractors and other Space A eligible clientele. For those that have been in the system for a while, you know that wait lists can be long sometimes. If you move to San Diego, your wait list might be up to a year to get care. And one of the reasons for that is because of the demand for care for everyone in the workforce. So the DoD has decided to make the priority back to the military. So the military now have a higher priority when it comes to getting into our daycare centers on military installations. So what are the priorities? So you have priority 1, you have priority 2, and priority 3. Priority 1 is essentially all of your military folks. Priority 2 are your DoD civilians, and priority 3 are your space availables. So under priority 1, there are a lot of different categories, and each category after B can supplant somebody if they were to come in new and there was somebody ahead of them. So Priority 1A first is the direct care staff at the CDC. So these are the teachers that are taking care of your kids. Without the teachers being there, obviously we don't have the ability to take care of kids. So that is the top priority for those teachers that are working in the centers. If their child can get care, then they can take care of 10 of your children, which helps the program overall. 1B, which is the major priority for everyone else, would be your single and dual mill. So the single and dual mill, when they come in, they are the 1B priority. And these folks will supplant families. If you were to come in to a move to a new installation and you needed care, you could potentially supplant a family that's there in care because you are the priority for care. So for those that are here that are moving on to another destination or another installation, and you fall into that 1B category, which would be single or dual military, you can be rest assured that your wait list, your wait time will be very short for care because you are the top priority and you do have the ability to supplant other families that are already in care. So under the you had to go on the wait list with everyone else. You were a higher priority on that wait list, but you still had to work through the wait list in order to get to the potential for care. Now you actually would jump several other categories and get care right away. So in summary, this is a great thing for our single and dual mill. If our single and dual mill move to a new installation and they can't find care for their children, they can't complete the mission. So that is a positive change. The 1C would be the military members with a part-time working spouse or a spouse that is seeking employment. So when you move to a new installation, there's a certain time frame that you are able to be in that 1C category while your spouse is seeking employment. If they aren't able to meet employment by that deadline, then you would drop into like a D category. But that is the 1C category. So that's the first category that can be supplanted. So potentially 1C could be supplanted if you're already in care, if a 1B family moves in and you are at the bottom of the care list. But the chances of 1B to 1C to getting supplanted when you got to work all the way down through the civilians and space A's, I don't foresee that ever happening. Our 1Ds are military members with a spouse enrolled in post-secondary institutions. So if you come in as military and your spouse is a full-time student, then you're also authorized care and you do have a high priority on this list. And then we move into priority 2. So priority 2 is going to be DoD civilians, and there's going to be several priorities within that as well. But essentially, if you're dual DoD civilians with children in care, you are the top priority. If you're a DoD civilian with a spouse that is working elsewhere, then you are the next level priority and so forth. And that's how it works down within there. The only way that DoD civilians are supplanted from care is if a 1A or 1B family were to move into the area. That's the only way that civilians would be supplanted once you have care. And then in priority 3 is your space available. This applies a lot more overseas where contractors are authorized care. Technically, contractors are in theory authorized care stateside, but stateside facilities never have availability for space A. Looking back on our records, we haven't had a space A family here in a couple of years because we always have a full demand. We always have a full center. So the chances for someone who would be space A, for example, a military individual with a spouse that doesn't work, a stay-at-home spouse, and they want care, that would be a space A family. And the chances of ever getting care here at pretty much any CONUS installation is probably almost none. So like I said, it just hasn't happened here. We just don't ever have space. We always have a waiting list of eligible families that are waiting for care. So what is the immediate impact to people that are currently here in care? So if you are currently in care, you've received a letter from us already. We've let you know. If you are mission critical and your kids are in care, you've already done the work that you need to do in terms of re-enrolling your children under this new plan. For those that were previously part of the CDC but are now self-caring for your children at home, you guys received a spreadsheet to fill out, form to fill out. Please return that to us ASAP. All that does is reaffirm what category that you are in. That way, when we do resume full operation at the CDC, you'll know whether you have a spot or not. And like I said before, looking at our current status, all of our people who are currently in care have a spot right now if we were to go back to full care. But again, the full care for us is quite a ways down the line. We're not even to HPCon B yet, which would be a slow return to care until we get to HPCon 0, where we return to full care, where people are no longer teleworking and being asked to self-care for their children. So this is just something that you need to do to be prepared for that when it does come. Even though we don't know the timeline for that, we do need to have your information and make sure that you're in the militarychildcare.com system so that we can have you at the proper spot on your wait list and provide you care when you become eligible. All right, so going to the chat. If you have any questions on what I just put out, I know it's a lot of information. If you have a scenario or anything or any concern, please put it into the chat room. I'll try and answer it here. You can also contact us offline, either Maggie over at the CDC or myself, and we can answer your question on the onesie, twosie, certain categories. So first off, Rachel asks, sir, what category is active duty military with a full-time DoD civilian GS spouse? So that applies, that's the same as the 1C, that is your, or the 1B, you are the 1B. So you are active duty military with a full-time working spouse. So whether you're a DoD civilian or not, you are part of that 1B category, which is the highest category for supplantation. So number one, you could never be supplanted by a family. That's impossible under the new system. And number two, you do get the ability to jump other families should you move to a new installation or what have you. And a follow-up question from her, thank you. Does this change mission essential eligibility now? No, so this change has nothing to do with our current situation, has nothing to do with COVID operations. This is just what the new priorities are. So in theory, if you're at, let's say we're based in San Diego, where a huge percentage of the population is mission critical, and those centers are up to 50% in care right now, which is the max we're allowed, that could come into play. So if a 1B family moved to San Diego right now, they could potentially supplant another family that was getting care under the mission critical because they can't exceed 50%. Here in NSA Monterey, it's not an issue, but to answer your question, it doesn't change your category or whether you're mission critical or not. If you're mission critical, you're mission critical, and we already know that. So there are no changes to the mission critical process in terms of CYP. Essentially, if you have a job and you have to report to your job, you are mission critical at this point. You need to make sure that you've filled out that form and supplied it to the CDC programs so that we can confirm and make sure that you have care. I don't see any other questions coming into the chat. The other thing I will put out real quick is that Skipper mentioned about Presidio Monterey going to HBCon B. He also mentioned that we are not there yet, but when we do eventually get to HBCon B, there will be changes to quality of life services, both in expansion of the number of people that can use our services in certain areas, as well as some of the things we can do. So we are looking forward to getting back to things like table service dining, things like open recreation for the community rec in terms of arts and crafts in-person classes, maybe doing some trips to some parks and stuff that aren't a lot of people, like off to any of the park areas here in California. So there's going to be some things that we're going to be able to do once we get to HBCon B. So everyone's fingers are crossed that we get to HBCon B sooner or later. And the Skipper and I will, of course, update you on every town hall to let you know what quality of life services are going to be open and expanded as we get to those levels. So don't see another question in there. I'm going to hand it back to the Skipper to close us out real quick with some last comments. And then we look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks at our next town hall, which will be on the 21st. Skipper, back to you. Back to you, sir.
Got it. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention, you mentioned arts and crafts. The N9 here, our team was able to put together something, we do it monthly, correct? With the arts and crafts at La Mesa Community Center?
Yeah, a couple times a month. A couple times a month we are doing arts and crafts issuing through the community center. So that is continuing and that's not going to stop.
Okay. I thought I saw a sign out there today when I was driving by, so that's one reason I brought it up. I think it's handing out materials, art materials and things like that, if I recall. So that's good stuff. The other thing I'll emphasize, and Kyle's got more of the details, but please, there's almost all of this information is available. I say almost because some of it doesn't fall directly within the N9 portfolio, but please, Naval Support Activity Monterey, MWR Facebook. If you Google that, there's daily postings. It also shows you what the daily special is at the Cafe Del Monte. Phenomenal. Breakfast there is great. There's meals at the golf course you can take out. So I asked that, I know my predecessor would say this, I know there's other installation CEOs in Region Southwest that say this also, but please, if at all possible, focus on what we do have as we continue to march towards a time frame that we can restore and restart more services. So, without any further questions, because I've got the chat up now too, I don't see anything. And again, if you have any other questions, we'll be back on the same time on the 21st of October. So thanks for being here and being part of this virtual town hall, and looking forward to the next opportunity. All right. Take care out here and stay healthy.